Okay, so here's kind of a picky sort of algebra thing that we need to talk about because it's going to come into play here. So here's an expression, x plus 2, okay? So if we were to multiply the bottom and top of this expression by the same quantity, we wouldn't change its value, right? So if we multiplied bottom and top by x minus 2, then we'd get x plus 2 times x minus 2 is x squared minus 4, right? And it would all be over x minus 2. So my question is, or the discussion is about whether or not this expression is equal to this one. And the answer is, well, yeah, for the most part. There's just one little thing that is different, and here's what that little thing is. If we don't think of these things as expressions, but if we think of them, let me get this pen, if we think of them as functions, like maybe call this one f of x and call this one g of x, are f of x and g of x equal to each other? Well, two functions are equal to each other if they have the same value at every point, and also if they have the same domains. And these two functions have the same value at every point, but there's a difference in their domains. Let me show you what I mean. The graph of x plus 2 is a line, right, that cuts through the y-axis at a height of 2. So the graph of x plus 2 looks like that, right? This is where equal to 2. The graph of this thing is exactly the same as the graph of this thing, but what point has to be excluded from the domain here? Since you can't have a 0 in the denominator, 2 has to be excluded from the domain. So the graph of this thing, here's 2 on the y-axis, here's 2 on the x-axis. So the graph of this thing looks exactly the same, except at the point where x is equal to 2, it doesn't exist. So there's a little hole there. So what, right? It seems like, why is she making such a big deal out of this? Well, it's going to come up for us here in a minute, and I just wanted to make sure that you're able to see the differences between these two, because it's going to be coming up. If you have questions about this, would you please post them? I don't know how much more we need to talk about this, or if this is all right with you. I should point out one other thing, though, and that is that if you graph these two things on the calculator, you would not be able to tell the difference between them, because on the calculator, the pixelization, is that a word? The pixels that the calculator uses to draw the graphs on there, it's not even going to show a hole there, so you wouldn't even be able to see it. Maybe I'll make a video of that and we can look at that. Okay, if you have any questions about this, please post them in the forum.